Texas-sized fight over redrawing congressional maps going on for 5 days now. In just about an hour, Texas Republicans are going to try again and likely fail again to open the floor of the state House of Representatives and vote on redrawing the state's congressional districts, which would help Republicans hold on to power in Washington if they were to be approved. Dozens of Democrats, though, are still out of state at this hour, refusing to return, trying to thwart that vote on those new districts. It means Republicans likely won't have the attendance needed to get anything done today on the floor. Meantime, Republican Senator John Cornyn of Texas says the FBI director has agreed to help locate and investigate those missing Democrats. We don't know what the FBI will actually do here, and the agency is declining to comment. Texas's governor, meantime, threatening to up the ante, suggesting that he would add more Republican seats to these maps the longer those Democrats stay out.
One way or the other, they're coming back, and it's going to end with these maps being passed. And, you know, what I'm thinking now is if they don't start showing up, I may start expanding it. We may make it 6 or 7 or 8 new seats we're going to be adding on the Republican side.
Yeah. The wall just got 10 feet higher.
Across the country, Democratic leaders already preparing their response. Governors in states like California and New York are threatening to redraw their districts and pick up more blue seats. Yesterday, I talked to House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries about where this goes from here.
The redistricting arms race has already begun, and it was started by Donald Trump and compliant Republicans in Texas. When Donald Trump says jump, the Republicans simply ask how high. The Republicans are counting on that as part of their scheme, trying to steal the midterm elections and gerrymander these congressional maps with impunity across the country. We're not going to stand for it.
To talk about all this, we want to bring in Tony Plahetsky, investigative reporter for the Austin American-Statesman and senior reporter for our ABC affiliate in Austin, Texas, KVUE. Tony, welcome in, sir. You just heard that sound from the governor there threatening to up the ante to add more seats. Do you take that as a real threat and something that he is actually considering doing? Where does this go from here?
Well, Jay, not only has he said that, he is also now on the record saying that he will call special sessions in perpetuity until lawmakers come back to the Capitol and pass these maps and approve these maps. So I think in many ways, Republicans have to be seen as being playing hardball. Their constituents seem to like that. But at the same time, there are growing questions about whether or not these threats ultimately will have teeth to them.
And they somewhat give away the ghost a little bit, because we've had Republicans on this program before say that these maps are being redrawn with genuine, real, non-political purposes in mind, that the district should be reorganized, that the state has had an influx of voters, and the governor there just saying that he's going to add more states just as a punitive measure to Democrats. But I do want to show you something here. This is the newly proposed Congressional District 11, CD 11. You see it there on your screen. It has people in Austin, where you live, sharing a congressional district with rural Texas voters more than 300 miles away here. So when you talk to Texas state Republicans, what is their argument for this redrawing? What is their argument for districts that look like that?
Jay, I've spent a lot of time really pressing them on that very point. And the truth is, they don't really have a unified answer. There is a letter that we know that was sent from the Department of Justice to the state several weeks ago, raising issues about some of the current districts. And so some Republicans have taken that letter to say this must be done. Now that we have this information from the Department of Justice, we can't possibly face court challenges because of them raising issues about these districts. Other Republicans cite other reasons, including population growth in the state. But behind the scenes, they do speak more candidly and frankly more honestly, and essentially say this is about politics. Donald Trump did, in the light of day, say that he wanted 5 additional districts in Texas. And yes, by the way, we are acting on that request.
Now, in terms of state House Democrats, a lot of them in Chicago, others are out of state. There are some that are in state, they're just not going to the Capitol. In the conversations that you have with them in your reporting, what's the temperature check here? Do they have the resolve to stay out and not go to the floor, not go back to the Capitol for the week and a half or so until the end of this special session? And if they stay out for that period of time, do you foresee them staying out for every special session that the governor says is going to call?
Listen, they certainly say that they have the strength and have the resolve to stay out of state at least through August 19th. From that point, publicly, what they say is that they will take it day by day. And should the governor call another special session, as he has said he would do, they will then evaluate their next steps. But Jay, one thing that is also clear, and that is this. Behind the scenes, these lawmakers know that ultimately they are probably, if not likely, on the losing end of this battle. But they say that they have other motivations for this walkout, for this quorum busting effort. And that is, they say, to shine a bright light for the country, not just the state, but the entire nation on this issue and what they frame as the undermining of democracy by the president and by other Republicans at the national level and here, of course, in Texas.
Are they concerned, those Democrats that you talked to, of federal law enforcement possibly getting involved here and compelling them to return?
Not, they say, if federal law enforcement follows the law. Listen, many of these lawmakers are, of course, attorneys themselves. They know the law. They know what the FBI's jurisdiction is and how they can act. And so ultimately, they are not necessarily afraid of being, for example, hauled away in handcuffs from Illinois and brought back via law enforcement here to Austin. But one thing that they are increasingly uncomfortable by is the rhetoric around this and the framing of them somehow as criminals who have violated the law. That is increasingly of concern for them, not only politically speaking, but also, frankly, in terms of their safety. I've heard a number of them raise increased safety worries as something that is growingly on their mind.
Tony Blahetsky for us, the reporter to talk to in the state of Texas on issues like this. Thank you, as always, for your time, my friend.
Thank you, Jay.